What's up, Dragon Brood? So today we're talking about some Dimir Snow Zombies. I know that's a weird combo, but hey, it's a thing that Kaldheim gives us, so we're going to try to make it work. And I have to say, it's actually getting to be kind of an interesting process trying to figure out all these decks. I'm talking to people, talking to other content creators, researching things, trying to see like what do people think even works or doesn't work. This is actually kind of fun to go through this process for you. And remember, please like this video to hopefully get other people to see it, and then hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell so that you will get notified every single time we are putting these decks up. So I'm putting them out several a day between now and the release of Kaldheim. But for now, let's go take a look at this Snow Zombies list. Wow, it's so weird. I have that thing going on where like your eye's just twitching for no reason. So if I stop and I'm just like scratching my eye, that's what it's about. I know I can edit it out, but I like y'all just getting the genuine me. Okay, so starting at the top here, we're playing Foulmire Knight. There's not a lot of homes for this card. I've played it in some like Golgari Adventures lists, but generally it doesn't make a lot of spots. However, here I don't mind it. It can let us draw a card in a pinch, but it's also a Death Touch creature, which we like. And it's a zombie. So, you know, it's going to get buffed up by the other things that are pumping zombies. So we don't hate that at all. It fits very well in this deck, and we needed some early drops, so it's a good fit. I don't hate that. Playing 4 Bloodchief Thirst. Not a lot to say about this particular card. It's in a lot of lists. If you're playing black, you're probably playing some number of them. We all kind of know what it does at this point. Now, this is where it gets a little weird. We're playing 4 Ascendancy Spirit, and this isn't even a zombie. And I'm fully aware it doesn't pump zombies. It has nothing to do with zombies. That being said, we are playing Snowlands for a couple of different reasons you're going to see throughout this deck list. And it was kind of like, what else can we do with snow? And we sort of need to fill another early drop. And this was what we had. All right. And I also want to give credit to Adam Yeoman 5 for actually even pointing this out in a list he put together. So though our lists are different in a lot of ways, this is actually a card that I got the idea from him. So I want to be transparent about that. But this card does actually get larger over a couple of turns if you want to invest the mana. If you don't have anything else to spend your mana on, it's a really good up for that. But it is just a decent all-around card, so I would really consider it. And there's not a lot of other quality zombies to play in that one drop slot anyway. And this ultimately could end up being a better drop for you late game if you just top deck it with a bunch of lands on the table. Continuing on, we're playing Meyerton. People kind of know what a Meyerton is at this point. It shows up in a lot of different lists, most popularized by the Rakdos mid-range decks. But it's a 2/1 for 2. You flip some cards in the graveyard, you gain some life, and it has Death Touch. So again, another small creature with Death Touch, which is nice. It can both act as removal in some ways or a deterrent for your opponent to attack, but also almost like it has Menace sometimes, just to force your opponent to not want to block it. So there's a few things going on with that, like that card a bunch. Then we've got Lilias Devotee. I was really debating on if this goes in the list or not because it technically isn't a zombie itself. It's a human warlock, but it does pump zombies. And if a creature had gone to the graveyard or had died during that turn, you can pay a black and a colorless and make a 2/2 black zombie. Also notice it says at the beginning of your step, if a creature died this turn, not a creature you control, as if a creature died. So if your opponent chump blocks with a couple things, you're like, great, pay 2, get me a 2/2 zombie. Right, which is actually going to be a 3/2 zombie because this is giving all your zombies +1/+0. So, I mean, it's a 2/3. It's a reasonable body. It's a little bit of a weird fit, but I think it makes sense, right? It can produce more zombies and it can pump your zombies. So I don't have a problem with that at all. And it's one of those things that if you just leave your mana open and this is sitting there, your opponent almost has to deal with it, or you're just going to get more creatures and sometimes upgrade your creatures whenever your other stuff dies. So giving it a go here, first deck I've built where that actually gets played, and I almost forgot about the card, to be honest. We're playing 1 Rise of the Dreadmarn. This card I'm just still toying around with. I don't really know how I feel. Like, it's an instant, obviously. It can create 2/2 zombies for each creature that died this turn. Nothing wrong with that. It doesn't really work against, like, Extinction Event, because that just exiles things. But there's a few different sweepers in the format that this could be pretty good for. I think this is one that you're probably going to foretell it more than cast it. Though, if for some reason this type of deck becomes popular, people are going to know what your main foretell card is. So they're not, you know, it's not going to be a secret. But you're going to do it just more for mana efficiency than anything. Does that make it better or worse? I don't really know. Like, how many situations are your opponent going to play around knowing this is a thing? I don't know. It's hard to tell at this stage, but it's at least worth including. So, I mean, it does make zombies. Wouldn't turn my nose up at it. They're playing 4 Timuret Calls the Dead. Another card that flips cards in your graveyard. You can remove creatures or an enchantment, make a 2/2 zombie. Makes perfect sense, right? We have tons of creatures. We're likely going to flip one. We remove a creature, get a zombie. Zombies get pumped up by things in the list. We have things that care about zombies. Good deal. Nothing really important to say there for that. Then we're playing 1 Egon, God of Death. I'm just playing this just because it's a big, dumb, efficient creature. It does have the backside that lets you put stuff in your graveyard and that whole thing. But this is mostly about the front side. It has Death Touch, the 6/6 spinning or upkeep. You have to exile 2 cards from your graveyard. If you can't, then you sacrifice this and draw a card. This is mostly just a big beater to keep pressure on your opponent. The other thing is you do have Timuret Calls the Dead. You've got Meyerton putting stuff in the graveyard. You have creatures that might die and go to the graveyard. So you have options to keep this alive for a couple of turns without a lot of issue. Maybe, though, not on turn 3, but likely on turn 4 or 5. So, I don't know. We're going to try one and just see how it goes. Then Murderous Rider. Because guess what? Murderous Rider is a zombie. A lot of people don't know that. But it is a zombie knight. It's a 2/3. Gives you another option for destroying planeswalkers if necessary. It is life gain. You know, there's not a whole lot in this list for that. So it does help you in that regard. And you don't have a lot of flyers, which is one thing that this list is lacking outside of probably the Ascendancy Spirit once you get to the final level. So it gives you an opportunity to shoot some of those things down that you might have a little trouble with, because we can almost assume there's going to be angels, rogues, you know, a few other things floating around that you're going to take down. Oh, actually, excuse me, we're playing 4. I guess I updated this list last night. Playing 2 Academ's Awakening, and this is really just a late game card. Maybe you get 3 things out of your graveyard or something. But a lot of times we're going to be playing this just as land in this list, I'm pretty sure. And then this is where it gets interesting. We're playing Draugr Necromancer. It's 3 colorless and a black, 4/4. If a non-token creature an opponent controls dies, you exile it with a snow counter or an ice counter on it. And then you can play anything with an ice counter that's been exiled. You can just spend mana of any color or any snow lands as though it were mana any color. So basically this means if you kill something from your opponents or they block with something, it gets exiled. You can spend the mana to play it. I almost went to 4 copies of this in the list because it's actually not bad even on rate. It's a 4 mana 4/4, which isn't terrible. But I just wasn't sure where I would squeeze the space. Like, what did I want to take out? Like 1 Timuret Calls the Dead? Do I take out the experimental Egon? Like, maybe. I'm not really sure where that spot would come from, but I at least wanted 3. So that's what we have in here now. But like I said, if you play a 4th, wouldn't even turn my nose up at it. And then the last card we're playing is Narfy, Betrayer King. The biggest thing about Narfy is other snow and zombie creatures you control get +1/+1. And note that the Ascendancy Spirit is a snow creature, so it will get the bonus from Narfy. It doesn't get the other bonus from Lilias Devotee, but it does get the bonus from Narfy. Narfy also has the ability that when you pay 3 snow mana, it returns from graveyard into play tapped. So you can keep your bonus pretty much perpetually. And remember, you have stuff like Meyerton and Timuret Calls the Dead that could potentially flip those into the graveyard on turn 2 or turn 3. And if you have snow lands out, you could actually have that in play the following turn and kind of skip up the curve a little bit and cheat somewhat. So, cool card all around. Fits really well in this deck. No real complaints there. Taking a look at the lands, not a lot of surprises here. We are playing full set of the Clearwater Pathways because it's blue and black. We're playing 2 Faceless Havens. Just y'all are going to see this card in a lot of my list. Faceless Haven's just so good, and one of the main reasons for people to even play Snowlands, honestly. Playing 4 Ice Tunnel, which is a blue-black, comes into play tap Snowland. Playing a bunch of islands and a bunch of swamps, snow-covered. And again, this is so you can pump your 1/1, so you can play stuff removed with the Draugr Necromancer, and a few other things that may pop up that have to do with snow. But particularly in this list, those are the things to worry about. And also remember, it does let you get back your Narfy. So yeah, it's been a little while since we've had a good zombie list, so I hope this one works out. I know there's a lot of zombie fans in Magic. It's weird kind of playing blue in your zombie decks. We did that for a little bit. I think around, man, it was a while ago, I guess around Dark Ascension. We played some blue zombie stuff. But since then, it's really just mono black is what people are looking to play. But hey, it makes sense in here, mostly because of Narfy and your 1-drop. If you get to playing best of 3, you could find some good sideboard cards, maybe the appropriate counters. So it's going to give you a little bit of flexibility by having that extra color in there. But generally speaking, I think this deck actually might have the ability to put on some pressure on some opponents. You're going to get some sizable creatures, you get some death touch creatures, you get creatures that come back from your graveyard, you have some defense against possible sweepers. So it's got a few different things going on for it. I kind of dig it. So if you like zombies, this could be the deck for you going into Kaldheim. Also, don't forget to like this video to help us get seen by more people, and then hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you get notified every time I put lists out, because I'm going to keep putting them out till Kaldheim releases. So y'all should have a lot of options. Well, that's all I have for you for now. We'll see you next time.